Hello, my name is Daniele Calimera and I'm a student from Contemporary Music Performance Year 1. My student number is 17148677. In this video I'm going to discuss about my Practical Musicianship course as a vocalist. I'm going to discuss about the whole year, about my experience as a vocalist made this year, about all the technical skills I learned and the sight reading improvements, and also I'm going to talk about the chords and how the chords helped me in singing in a certain style, because we've been in many genres during this year with the uni. My awareness about the voice during this year is improved a lot, and I want to start to talking about the basic information about the voice, and like the good behavior that every singer has to attend in order to have a voice that will be always ready to perform. Some really good advice that I learned during this year was the good behavior about the voice, like drink plenty of water during the day, make some steaming, have a good rest, avoid stressful situation, eating well, and also discouraging some bad behaviors, like for example eat and drink some kind of food, for example drinking soft drinks, alcohol, chocolate, coffee, fried food, junk food. It basically could increase the acid reflux, and also avoid stressful situation as well. Shouting a lot and smoking as well could basically make our voice not so ready to do certain kinds of work. So this kind of information make me aware about how much the voice could be influenced by external factor and about our behavior. Because of the delicate nature of our vocal folds, we always need to try to avoid all the things that I mentioned, because we need to consider ourselves as a like an athlete that needs to be ready to play a game. Then Kirsty started to introduce the warming up, both vocal and physical, and the importance of the daily routine in order to have a voice always prepared to do the daily singing. About the vocal warming up, I always by myself put some some exercises actually in my daily routine, every time, like an hour, at least for an hour a day. But Kirsty gave me a couple of more vocal exercises that it was helpful. I was used to do like the lip bubble and the tongue trill, that is basically really useful to in order to started my daily routine in as a vocal approach. Like for example something like that for the lip bubble, or for example for the lip trill. But then Kirsty gave me a couple more exercises that is useful in order to prepare and warming up our voice. For example, the humming, the NGs and the siren sound, basically starting from an NG sound like sing. If we say the word sing, this kind of stuff, and then we can go up and down with the vocal register. If we sing like if we do the exercise like that, sing, that is another one. Another one is the bumblebee, and the scale is like bumblebee, 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 beam, bumblebee, 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 beam. And another good one that is really good for the agility of the voice is the 1-1-2-1 exercise that everybody knows. About my physical warming up, she gave me many exercises in order to wake up the body and make my my body ready to sing. For example, the spine and the body stretch are a good example of the physical warming up. Also, the head turning, always in a gentle way, that basically start to wake up also the muscle in the neck. Also some shoulder exercise and some arm and legs shaking that basically started to release the tension and be ready to start our daily singing. During this week, we talked a lot about the vocal technique and apply the vocal technique on the songs. One of the most important aspects for me was the respiration and the posture. About the respiration, I started to be more careful about how to breathe properly in order to maintain always a good balance during the singing, applying some exercise that Kirsty gave us, like the controlled breathing, release, and the advanced level of this exercise with the so basically every time breath, like not from here but lower breath, and then so basically release really gentle, really slow way the breathing. And also this kind of exercises makes me give me a lot of benefit in activate the diaphragm, even though the diaphragm is an involuntary muscle that works by itself. But this kind of respiration basically could be felt for my body a little bit more with a good breathing exercise, and I made just a couple of exercises that give me the sensation about the diaphragm. Not that the diaphragm is forced, but it gives me the sensation on doing it. For example, va 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 va. This kind of exercise basically we can feel actually the diaphragm working for us without engaging too much and without forcing the abdominal muscle, but just like release and make the diaphragm work in a really good way. Another important aspect for me was the posture. During these years I worked a lot and tried to avoid a certain posture. I have experienced by myself as a singer and a singing teacher, but I've always struggling in to have a natural posture while I was singing. Every time my neck tends to go in compensation. So basically, the posture exercise that we made these years, it was really important for me because focusing a bit more on the good posture with the good alignment rather than some strange position of the chest or of the head, giving the sensation that I don't need to engage that extrinsic muscle in order to obtain a certain sound or a certain note, but I can do the same thing maintaining a good posture, and also this kind of exercises basically make me all over, give me more freedom when I perform. So now I'm able to do many other physical things with more natural movements while I'm on stage, and without thinking too much about it. So just do it because the posture is good. Another little big detail we've been through this year is the sound attack. We studied all the vocal attack, like the glottal or the breathy attack or the coordinated onset that basically is a mixture of these two, and we study how these kind of attacks works in relation with each other and in relation of the tone production in a certain song. From the beginning of our lesson, Kirsty always puts some information about the anatomy of the voice and how it's all related. Firstly, we have a brief introduction on what organs are involved in the sound production. For the breathing, we have the trachea, the diaphragm, the lungs, the abdominal muscle, and the ribs. At the source of the sound, responsible for the sound production, we have the larynx that include the vocal folds, of course, that are situated inside the larynx and comprise in the arytenoid cartilage, the ligaments, the membranes, and the vocalist muscle, thyroarytenoid and cricothyroid. The resonator, in this case, are composed by the throat, the mouth, and the nasal cavity. These three components work together and in symbiosis to produce the sound that could be transformed in singing. The breath management is important in order to manage the quality of the intonation, about the support, about the power, and the expression as well. Know how to manage the breath make completely differences, because lack of breath support could cause you tension, or lack of power as well, or less flexibility or agility during the singing. Instead, the vocal folds are the designated muscle for the phonation. They are composed by ligament and mucosa, and vibrating together, they start the phonation. So basically, the speaking and, of course, the singing. With the larynx inside muscle, the thyroarytenoid and cricothyroid or cricoid, they stretch themselves in order to obtain a certain pitch. If the pitch is high, they're gonna be thin. If the pitch is low, they're gonna be a little bit thicker, and also they have a quality to resist to the airflow came from the lung, and this makes different in the tone production and in the quality of our sound. If the vocal folds are not resisting to the airflow, if there is too much airflow and air pressure, maybe this can cause you a little bit of flip while you're ascending in the high notes. If they resist too much, if they are compressed too much, maybe this is a result of a strained voice or a shouting voice. So the vocal folds are really delicate organs in this sense. And also we speak about the resonator, that is works in order to amplify the tone, creating the space for the sound come out, increase the power of the sound to and also to give some different colors on the voice. Another little aspect that is basically give us like the importance of the singing is the articulator. So basically the tongue, the lips, the soft and the hard part as well, the jaw, also the teeth as well. So basically during the year we also got into some theoretical stuff about the voice, like the vocal register, the different ranges, how to blend the voice from the bottom to the top of our range. About different kind of voice we can find, there are the soprano, the mezzo, the alto for the female voice, the tenor, the baritone, and the bass for the male voice. And they work in a certain range and a certain what we call the register. The register is a term used to refer to a range of notes that have a certain consistency and timbre, and all the adjustments that the vocal folds had to do in order to attain a certain pitch. So in different area of our voice. For this reason, we can find the chest register that usually is referred to the lower part of our instrument, and in this register the vocal folds vibrate with a full width, and the resonance we can hear is more in the chest bone, in the sternum. The mix register, and in this one the vocal folds start to be a little bit more stretched, and they start to thin out in order to get a higher pitch, and the vibration of the vocal folds in the closed phase is not total as the chest register. Then there is the head voice. In this register the vocal folds are stretched, and we can start feeling the head resonance with the resonator that we talked about before, and the sound find its place naturally in what they call the mask. And then we have the falsetto register that tend to resonate in the same place of the head voice, but is not the same as a head voice, because the vocal folds are not abducted and edgy as the head voice. They are a little bit less abducted than and there is a little bit more of breathiness in the quality of the sound. And also there is the flute register, also called like the whistle register or whistle voice, that we can find mostly on the female singer. And in this register the vocal folds are really thin and really rigid. They didn't vibrate so much actually. Then Kirsty gave us also some exercises in order to help the voice traveling around this register. By myself, I found it easier, especially if we use some close vowel like E and U to engage both of the register. For example, if I'm going to do E or the U, so basically the closed vowel gave us more access into the head voice and basically blend the voice a little bit better, and we can travel a little bit more in a natural way instead of the, for example, the open vowel like the A, E, that is more frontal, is more chestier, even though we need to do also that kind of stuff in a, you know, at a certain level. So we can do the same kind of things we can do with the E, we can do with the U or the E and the A. Once we lean into that, of course. And I actually also noticed that when you are ascending in the, you know, in the from the bottom of your range to the top, the point in which your voice start to become softer, start to become more headier, and then when it's coming back in the chest voice, when it starts to become a little bit more heavy. Kirsty also introduced some vocal techniques that it could be used during the singing if we want some kind of effect, or if we want to use it for technical purpose. For example, the twang technique. With this kind of technique, we tend to create some different sounds, some different projection of the voice. This kind of technique is also used from many musical theater actor and actor as well. And twang can be helpful to raise the volume and be louder, and to create more edge in the voice, and can be used for a certain character in the musical theater, because sometimes we can find that the sound produced is very strident and it could be fit in a certain musical theater roles. To finding the twangs, one of the best exercise is actually the NG, the siren exercise, because it basically resonates specifically in that kind of area. Sing, so basically it resonates in the mask, and that is the key of the twang technique. And with the twang technique, people need to be careful about the volume sometimes, because there is a danger that some volume can be used too much, and this could be strain the voice as well. So the singer doesn't need to be tempted to push too much in that case the volume, because it could be, could cause some strain in the vocal folds. Another technical aspect that we speak about is the belting. There is a technique that is kind of similar to the twang, but it's not a twang at all. In this technique, the chest voice is keeping more when we are ascending in the high notes, and the head voice will be involved with a bit of delay. So basically we are going to engage more chest voice than the head voice, and the head voice is going to be delayed a little bit more in the high notes. According to Joe Steele, This technique, the belting, is not harmful if it's done properly, even though the sound is really energetic, and this belting technique is used more into the musical theater production. Personally, as more as the course was going, during the lesson we had, we've been introduced also to the choral and harmony singing, and also some songs that we had from the LPW lecture involved doing some backing vocal and harmonies. So starting from this, me and my student colleagues got the idea to record a Christmas song with all of us and record it into a video. So all the experience we had during this year in terms of harmony singing and choral singing give us the possibility to express all the potential talent that the chords have with the singers. So basically, we record "Do the Noise Christmas" for Christmas, and we make video in which every singer play its own part and play also some harmonies and do a choral as well singing. And this kind of aspect we've been into a little bit also in the lesson with Kirsty. So these courses also stimulate me to do extra activity outside the uni, like of course doing gig, but also doing a Christmas concert with my musical theater company and apply this kind of harmonic singing also in that kind of situation. So it helped me to make my knowledge about harmonic singing a little bit wider than I was. One of the reasons why I joined this course was because I would like to expand my knowledge about theoretical stuff, start reading music to become a better performer that could be ready for do this as a professional, on a professional base. I already had some sight reading knowledge before, but I really improved during this year, especially while I was preparing my exam. Every lesson with Kirsty, we introduced a bit of sight reading, even though sometimes we didn't have much time to do it, and we were focused more on technique and the song interpretation and preparation for the PW. But I feel definitely improve under this aspect, and I want to keep working also by myself to improve my sight reading. For the assessment, Kirsty gave us two songs choose by her and two songs for our own choice. One song that she chose, it was Highway to Hell from AC/DC. Another one was A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. Then she gave us the possibility to choose a couple of songs. One funk song, and I choose Superstition by Stevie Wonder, and another song in every genre that we covered, that we are covered into LPW curves. So rock, blues, funk, and soul. And I choose "I Want It All" by Queen. Then for always for the assessment, she asked us to learn 5 different scales: the major, the minor harmonic, the minor melodic, the whole tone, and the chromatic, and to replicate it, of course, in the assessment. And she asked us to do one rhythmic reading and one singing sight reading. Regarding the song, I basically prepare all the song during the weeks, learning the lyrics and put myself into these 3 different genres. For I Want It All and Highway to Hell, for example, once I get the tone quality I wanted and work on the technique in order to obtain the high notes in a relaxing way. I was focusing doing a little bit more of stylistic part, like for example in that case the raspiness attack that was more fit into the style of the song. but never without losing what I achieve technically. For example, for A Change Is Gonna Come, I was focused on the emotion and the meaning of the lyrics, and sometimes I highlight this kind of emotional part with some breathy attack to make it smoother as well. For Superstition, I took some advice Kirsty gave me for the song, because sometimes I tend to make some vibrato in that, and she told me not to do because it's a funk song. So basically, sometimes she told me, okay, at the end of each phrase, just try to cut it out without doing too much vibrato, even though the vibrato is a good thing to do. So I basically take this advice, and I keep the phrase really sharp, really funky. I also done sometimes at the end of some phrases, I also done some nasal sound that more fit into that kind of genre. For the sight reading, I made some exercise Kirsty suggest me to take some manuscript with songs that I never know and I never sang before, and just try to sing it without the track. What I was doing, basically sing that kind of song with the manuscript without listening before the song, and then after singing like 2, 3, 4 times, go into YouTube and try to see if my singing and my rhythm was good to fit the song. For the sight reading, for the rhythmic sight reading, I would just basically working by myself with some manuscript and do it like, on a daily practice as well. For the scale, I just practice at home, doing all over with the piano, and train my brain to recognize the small difference between these kind of scales, especially from the minor harmonic and the minor melodic as well. During the last year, I studied vocal technique privately by myself with my organization, the Institute for Vocal Advancement, first as a student, then as a teacher. But I joined the course basically because I wanted to increase my information regarding, of course, singing, of course, my knowledge about the voice, to improve my background as well, to make my performance a little bit more on a professional base, and to improve my sight reading as well for this purpose. And the course gave me all the information I needed about the voice, about the technical stuff, about the skills, and make my singing richer, give me more perception about the stylistic part of the singing rather than finding only the technicality in the singing. And during this year, I also found many colleagues that now I can call friend, and we create a really good environment in working together as a vocalist every week, and help ourselves to do our best and encourage each other as well. So this is my whole experience in my first year during the course of Practical Musicianship in the Contemporary Music course. Thank you so much for watching. This is Daniele Calimera, Contemporary Music Performance Year 1, student number 1714 8677. Thank you, bye.